Hello, in this video, I will be making and showing you how to make your own inverted spear of heaven out of cardboard. This is kind of a complex tutorial, but it shouldn't be too hard. I also added some extra details that I didn't show in the tutorial, as in these structures and this piece right here, but those should be very easy to add on your own, so enjoy the video. Okay, so first what you'll need is to get a piece of cardboard long enough for this. Either you can measure out the handle to a size that fits for you, or you can go along with mine, which I'm going to try and do the most accurate size. So the complete sword is actually 13.4 inches long. So for the hand, but I didn't get the measurements for the handle and the blade, so I just assume the blade is a bit longer. So the handle for mine is going to be 6.5 inches. So yeah, I'm going to just mark that out real quick. So 6.5 inches, so it should be right here. Yeah, that looks right. Yeah, right here. Okay, now you just need to draw that line. Actually, wait, no, that kind of looks a little too thin. This should be good, honestly. But now you can just cut it out to the width that you think that would look right. So you get your scissors. I forgot to mention scissors as well, sorry. And then you just cut out the piece that you think would, alright, so it should be about that thick. Actually, no, that might be a little too much. These scissors aren't very good for cutting cardboard. Hold on, I'm gonna go get some better scissors. Okay, so I actually found a more accurate size depiction of the blade, and it's actually 8 inches and a quarter, so 8.25 inches, if that makes sense, or 8 1/4 inches. And then now, if you have your strip, now you need to cut out 5 more of these and make these 6 cardboard pieces in length. So I'm going to do that real quick. So here are all my strips cut out. If you feel like I'm going too fast for you, then feel free to pause the video at any time. But yeah, here's my progress. And if you're wondering how thick each of mine are, they're about 1 1/4 of an inch. I mean, 1 1/4 inches per strip. So yeah. Alright, so now what you want to do is you want to get these all glued together. So getting your wet glue, you just want to lay each strip flat, like this. And then you get your wet glue, and then you just glue them together. Glue them together. Don't know why I keep saying that, but yeah, there we go. And then make sure, press it together. And then you're just going to want to do this for like all of them. So yeah. Okay, so once you have them glued, this is what it should look like. It should be thick and should be grabbable. Mine is currently drying right now, but yeah. This is what your finishing product should have. And I'm gonna do a little something extra. You don't have to do this, but it's just gonna improve like the roundness and the shape of this handle. So let me show you in a second. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I got a thin strip that's the same length as this, and what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cut this one in half because this one's thicker. These like little gap corners will just make it a little bit more round, like on my Leviathan axe. You can see this in full motion, like right here. Well, not really, it's kind of square, but you can see like those little diagonal sides there. So, but yeah, this is just optional. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna glue those to the sides, and then I'm gonna let these dry. So I will see you in an hour. Okay, so once your handle structure is done drying, now we need to smooth it up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get a piece of soda cardboard, and I'm just gonna get it to the thinnest layer since this is too thick. Like, you see how it's peeling right there? I'm gonna just peel the rest of it, and then I'm just gonna wrap it around, like around this, and then I'm gonna shape it to look smooth and glue it on. Okay, so here it is, like, peeled. You can kind of see, kind of transparent, but over here it's still like solid. I'm just gonna wrap this. This is a little bit more durable than paper, so I'm just gonna wrap this and cut it to the size I need it to, and then I'll glue it on. Alright, so once it's done getting glued on, here's what it looks like. I had to kind of press it around, but luckily my glue is tacky. So you see here, more of the bottom. You see here how it's like the edges are rounded. That's what I was trying to achieve. Up here, it's not really, because I just have to kind of flatten the corners, and I had to glue on a strip of paper because there was a gap, because the cardboard wasn't long enough. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. Ooh, whoa. This is what I was talking about here. But again, if you don't have enough thin cardboard, then you could just use paper. So yeah. Alright, so I actually gave it a full day to dry, and here it is, all dried up. Now I'm going to be making the little golden piece at the end that will hold the chain. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. Once you have like about an inch measured out on your cardboard right here, then you just gotta cut it out as another strip. Okay, so now once you have your 1 inch long strip, you're just gonna wanna kind of fold it. Oh, my camera's acting up. And once you have it folded, it should look something like this. And what we're basically gonna do is, you can choose either side of the handle. I'm just gonna choose this part. All we're gonna do is just wrap it around this part right here, and then just glue it. I have to measure it out first though, so give me a second to do that. Okay, so now that I got it measured out and I got the glue on, now it's time to glue it on. Okay, so I held it down for a few seconds, and there it is. It's holding. It's still drying, yeah, obviously, but it's holding properly. You see how I don't have to hold it now. And if you're wondering what glue I use Aleene's premium quality original tacky glue. This one's only like 8 ounces, but that's what I use. So yeah, now for the next step. What we're gonna do here now is place this on top of the cardboard, get a pencil of your choice, or just get the pencil you've been using, and then just outline the bottom to the best of your ability. Let me just guess that. And then you see that? That is the horrible cut, but this is just gonna cover this. We're just gonna glue that right here, and that's just gonna make it smoother. Actually, I'm gonna trace that out on soda pop cardboard. This is what we want here. Let's see if it fits. Yeah, that fits pretty nicely. That should be glued onto the bottom. You see how smooth it is? Oh, let me glue that on real quick. Alright, once you have it glued on, it should look something like this. Now, both of these pieces are currently drying, but since there's no apparent glue anywhere, I feel like we can get right to painting. Either get your gold paint or your 2 paints that'll mix to be gold, and then put that on something that you're gonna paint with. I don't know, a palette or something. Let me do that. Okay, so as you can see here, I have like a gold kind of looking paint. The camera doesn't really look good with it, but in real life, it does kind of look goldish. Hold on, let me add a little bit more yellow. It'll probably dry lighter. And then now we get to the fun part, painting. So just get the bottom piece right here, and then, oh gosh. There we go. There we go. And then just, well, paint. Okay, so, I actually decided to add a little bit more yellow. Dang, this lighting is not very good. So you see, it's still kind of brownish, but once I have this covered, you can see it's more apparent. But here it is, the little gold paint. But now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna place this somewhere else to dry. We're gonna add the little thing for the chain to connect onto. So where's my paper? Right here. So we're just gonna cut out some paper. Should I go that way or this way? I think I should go this way, yeah. We're just gonna cut out a big strip of paper. So you want to get a strip of paper that kind of looks like this. This doesn't have any specific measurements. Just get something that looks somewhat like it. So now you want to get your glue. You can use stick glue for this, which is what I would use, but I ran out of that. So if you have like purple stick glue or something like that, you can just do this along. But I don't have that right now, so I'm just using what I have. So then you want to just simply glue this half and then fold it in half. And then like that. And then you want to do it again. Then you're just going to want to let that dry for a second. Let me check the other side. Alright, and then if it's necessary, then you can trim it a little bit, just like I'm doing. Alright, yeah, that should be good. Throw this away real quick. Alright, now we're just gonna roll it into a tube. Not the way I was doing in my previous videos, but in a different way. So we're just now what you're gonna want to do is just grab the paper and roll it like this, kind of like what you did with the cardboard earlier. And then you're just gonna want to roll like that until you have something that'll form a ring. Dang. Okay, I'm just gonna roll it a little bit. And if you need to, I'm gonna use a pencil just to roll it as much as I can. Get any excess glue out of there as well. Oh shoot, it unfolded? What the heck? Uh-oh. Once you have it rolled out into like a rolled shape, I put a little bit more glue along the surface because I don't know how big this ring's gonna turn out, but that's just an extra procedure. Now you can just roll it into a tube like I said before. Yeah, see? That extra glue is helping now. And then you kind of just want to, like that. Alright, and boom. But we don't want this to be fully white, so we're just gonna real quick paint it, or again, if you're not using paint, then just keep it like this and let it dry. But first, I'm going to paint it. So using my gold paint that I made before, let me just, now that it's painted gold, I'm just gonna let these dry and I will see you in 1 or 2 hours. Okay, so it has currently been a couple of hours, and here is how they came out. Honestly, the acrylic paint I use is a little bit tacky. Like it's it's sticky kind of, so like I can just kind of press that on. But now we can just glue that little circle piece on. So just get your glue, and then you're just gonna put a little dabble. Where's the part? Yeah, right here. There we go. Now we're gonna move on to the grip, which is probably gonna be the final part of the handle, which is great. So let's move on to that. Oh, okay, so this is the part of the video where the red construction paper comes into play. Alright, let's get started. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna fold this in half. Fold that in half. Hold on. Alright. Fold it, make sure it's even. And then I'm gonna unfold it like so. Now you want to get your scissors and you just want to cut this in half. Okay, I've made a decision. So actually, get your halves and then fold them again. You're gonna want to get both of them. Fold them in half again. Then unfold it. And then get your scissors and then cut these in half again. Here they are all cut. Alright, now what you're going to want to do with these is, alright, here, let me just get one of them for now. Put these other ones to the side. You're going to want to get this one and then fold it in half, but we will not be cutting this, so if you want to skip ahead, then do so, but we're not going to be cutting, so yeah. Gonna fold this in half. It's uneven cut, so it's kind of hard too. And then you're just gonna want to get either your stick glue or your wet glue, and then you're just gonna want to glue this. And then you're gonna want to repeat this process. So fold it in half. Let's see. It's a little thick, but it should be good. And then glue it. That's it. We're just gonna leave that one. Just press it. And then yeah, we should have 4 of these strips according to the paper. So let me go ahead and do that with the other pieces now. Alright, so that was a little time lapse of me. Oh shoot, this one's unfolding. That was a little time lapse of me just creating the grips. And I'm gonna show a picture of the grips and like probably the screen when I edit this, but that'll show you what I'm making here. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab one of these and I'm gonna grab the handle, move these real quick. Then I'm just gonna, you guessed it, round. I'm gonna be using a lot of rounding. Actually, I think this is the last of the rounding here. Alright, now once that's like pretty rounded and you can fold it easily, now we're just gonna place it here and we're just gonna wrap that around until we get to a point like this. Now we're gonna mark that line right there, and then we're gonna just cut it right there. So this, we know that this is the length of fit around 1, and as I showed you in the picture, which I hopefully edited, these are gonna be in layers like up. So this is 1, and then we're just gonna keep measuring this length and we're gonna keep cutting it out. So yeah, that's 2 per thing, which should give us 8 strips, 8 handle grips. That might not be enough, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. So, and then obviously we're gonna have to glue this on. So we're gonna cut to another time lapse of me cutting and then gluing these on. So yeah, I'll see you in like probably like a minute. So after getting them all cutted up and rounded, now I'm gonna glue these on. So if you want to know how to glue these on, how I'm gonna do it, I'm just gonna wrap them around like this, and then just glue it like that. And then I'm just gonna put those on top of each other like this. So yeah, I'm gonna get these all glued on real quick. Okay, here it is dried. I mean, well, not dried, but here it is all glued on. I actually had to make 2 more because there weren't enough, and here it is at the top. But here are 3 things that I'm about to do. So first, I'm going to fill these gaps, which I'm going to show right up here. And then I'm going to draw to make it more animated, which I'm going to also show up there. And also, I will see you tomorrow. Okay, so it is currently the next day, and here's how it came out. So, last time, in the previous clips, I showed you how I glued on these pieces, and that covered up the gaps pretty nicely. And then I showed you how I drew the lines, and those cover all the entire thing. That's just to make it look more animated, because this is an animated weapon and a drawn weapon. And then I didn't show this, but what I did here is I just got like a darker red marker, then I just like kind of drew some lines just to make it like shading a little bit, and the handle came out nice. But now I'm going to be making the Tsuba. So yeah, let's get into that. Okay, so the Tsuba is in like kind of a weird shape, if I'm gonna be honest. So I'm just gonna draw it out. I'm gonna show a picture of it on the screen once I edit this, but it should be like up there probably. And I'm just gonna draw out that shape real quick. So let me do that real quick. So here's mine all drawn out. It's not perfect, but hey, nothing's perfect, right? Okay, cool. What do you do? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut this out. Okay, so I tried to make it look like a transition. Hopefully it worked. But just throw these away. And then, boom. This should be at least what your Tsuba shape should look like. Hold on, let me see if this is straight. Let me just edit these edges a little bit. Make it look nice and smooth. And then, yeah. Okay, so if you're following along, your Tsuba shape should look something like this. Make sure your thing can still fit on it, like that. Yeah, that's good. That's actually pretty good. And then now, what I'm going to do, instead of layering this, which is probably going to take longer, I'm just going to get some soda cardboard, which I'll show you what to do with that in a second. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to get a soda can cardboard, or no, not paper. It'll be too weak. But you're going to get some cardboard or thick paper. Thick paper might work. But you're going to get some of this type of cardboard. That should be, hold on, let me check. Yeah, that should be good. I'm going to measure this out real quick so that you can know. This is about 1 1/4 inches wide. And the length doesn't really matter because it's going to be cut down eventually anyway. So what you're going to do is round it. Yeah, it should look something like this as always. And then you're just going to carefully just like, I'm just going to fold it right here. You're just going to carefully, or not carefully, well, just match it to match the shape of your Tsuba piece. Alright, so you should have something like this. Mine wasn't long enough, but I can just add another piece of cardboard. So you can see, like I kind of got the shape folded out right there around it. And what I'm just going to do here is I'm just going to glue it around. So just going to get your glue, and then you're just going to do this. Okay, so while I was drawing it, I just cut out another piece that was 1 1/4 inches thick or wide, and then I'm just gonna glue that on right there to cover that gap. And boom, there we are. And surprisingly, I will not have to cover it with paper because the gaps actually look nice. The gaps look smooth. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait for that to dry in a couple of hours, and then I will get back to making it. Okay, so now it's dry, and now we can get to finishing this. So you're gonna want to get a piece of cardboard. So let me do that real quick. This should be good. So you want to get a piece of cardboard, and we'll just rip that off like this. Let me just also rip this piece off. That's a waste of space. And you're just gonna take the top, the empty space right here, and then you're just gonna trace that onto the cardboard. And boom, something like that. It kind of bent over here since it's like really squishy. So, but now you just need to cut this out. And here it is. Hopefully this covers the top properly. Dang. Yeah, no, that did not do it too well. Yeah, that was a little off. I mean, not really. It's really just that little corner. I'm just gonna have to remake this shape real quick. Yeah, so I got some, oh shoot, I got something that fits kind of better. It just kind of leaves this gap in the back. but that can be easily patched up. So I'm gonna get this glued on real quick. Oh, actually, shoot, I forgot to do something. So I forgot to mention before I glue this on. I don't feel the need to wipe it off, but you're gonna need 2 chopsticks. This is an optional part. If you don't have chopsticks, then you could have just glued this on by now. But if you don't, then here's what you're gonna do. You're just kind of gonna poke 2 holes in the cardboard with your chopsticks. So hold on, I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, so I actually made a 3rd one. This one's just using soda box cardboard, and this one actually fits perfectly, so that's more convenient. But now with your chopsticks, what you're gonna want to do is you're just gonna stab 2 holes like pretty close to each other and kind of in the middle, like right here. So okay, so what I did is I just cut some X. I just cut an X in the box. I marked. That's where I marked circles where I wanted them to be. That's what the red ink is from, and then I just poke them through the X's like that. And now we can glue this on. But before I glue that on, I'm gonna trim down these chopsticks at the end with my box cutter. And okay, so once you have this glued on, you want to get your chopsticks and just insert them in the holes. And then you're just gonna want to kind of glue these. Okay, so now that it's dried, now we can finally start painting. So in the picture I found, it's not gold like the bottom of it is, the bottom of the spear is, but instead it's like a goldish kind of silverish kind of color. So that's exactly what I'm gonna make. Okay, so here are my paints, the gold mix and some silver, and now I'm just gonna mix it with my brush. So okay, so I accidentally forgot to film, but I got it painted, and here's how it came out. But I have to glue this on, but before I'm gonna, you already know how to glue it on. You just put it right there, so I don't feel the need to film that. But now I do feel the need to film something else. I'm gonna be making the blade, which would be the last part of this video. Okay, so for the blade, you might not need this much, but dang, this thing covers the entire screen. Yeah, you might need like a lot of cardboard. Like, look at my hand compared to this. Cause apparently the blade is like a foot long. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut out like a piece of this. So yeah, so just measure out 12.2 inches on your cardboard, and that should be good for the blade. Okay, so that took a while to cut for me. I did it off camera, that's why we just switched clips. But now all you have to do is just draw the design of the sword. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least try to make it like as accurate as you can, which is what I'm gonna do. So okay, so here is mine all drawn out. I drew it to the best of my ability. It's not perfect, like you see, like the lines aren't great, but it came out fine, honestly, in my opinion. It's not perfect, but it'll do. So now we just have to cut out the shape. So okay, so that transition was probably terrible, but yeah, it's all cut out now. And let's just see how it looks on the sword. Okay, so dang, it's a bit skinny, but I'm sure that doesn't matter, really. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. As long as I have the blade, I don't care. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trace this out 2 more times, and then I'm gonna have 3 of these pieces. So okay, so I accidentally trimmed down my blades by accident, but that's alright. But now what you want to do is, once you have your 3 cardboard pieces, just get 2 of them. I'm gonna leave this one behind. You can choose any of them. And then, actually no, just get 1 of them for now. And then you're just gonna cut off the edges, like here. Just gonna cut that, like there. And then right this way. So Alright, so once you have that done, you should have pieces that look like this. I know they look exactly the same, but they are skinnier. Here's the original piece right here, and here is what they look like on top. So let me just align that, and then you see how it has like an edge now to look like a blade. See like that edge right there? Don't take that out of context. But yeah, that's what it should look like on both sides now. So yeah, and I'll show you. I did this on my axe as well. Yeah, see, like I have an edge. This one looks kind of bad though, but it came out fine, I think. So yeah, that's what we want though. And now you just have to glue these on, not on the same side obviously, but on both sides like this. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Before I show you the blade, I actually decided to take out the chopsticks. Hopefully this doesn't affect yours too bad, but I'm sorry, this is a very late decision. But yeah, I just made a hole to insert the blade instead. I mean, it's not gonna hold as good as it would, but I'm sure I could just like support it with something. But now to the final part, or one of the final parts, painting. So I'm just gonna paint this gray. You can paint it silver, whatever you want, honestly. Any gray, any color, shade of black, whatever. But here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I have here my regular gray paint, and I'm just gonna paint the edges. This part right here, I'm just gonna paint those parts. So I got the edges painted, both sides here. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get my gray paint again, and then I'm just gonna mix it with a little bit of black to make this layer darker, so that it has kind of like that sword-ish kind of glow, kind of like highlight to it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so here it is, done painting. I don't want this video to be too long though, so I think I'm just gonna end it here. You guys already know what to do. You know, just glue it in there, and if you need to, structurally sound it. But now it is painted. It's a little darker than I expected it to be. I might just dry brush some lighter gray paint on it, but that's the Inverted Spear of Heaven tutorial. I probably showed the full thing in the tutorial, in the intro. But yeah, if you need to know what to do after this, just glue it in the slot right here. But yeah, that will conclude this tutorial. So thank you for watching.